Welcome back to Chronic Briefs. Today we're going to talk about something that frankly is not going to be covered in just one video. It can't. I'm speaking of course about misconceptions about chronic illness and disability. Before we begin though, I just want to mention a quick note. Look, I just want to apologize to our hearing impaired viewers. Yeah, I had no idea the YouTube auto closed captioning system was so bad. And I mean, it's hilariously bad. Like, so bad, we'll make a blooper video about it someday. Yeah, it's awful. It's awful. Anyway, I'll be doing it manually from now on, so you won't miss jokes and everything, and I'm so sorry to anyone hearing impaired. It won't happen again, okay? Anyway, misconceptions. OMG! This is a topic that could span a Ken Burns-length PBS special, complete with DVD commentary. Yeah, the misconceptions people hold about disability and chronic illness in general are legion, just endless, and some are so absurd that they stretch the imagination that someone could actually believe them. Unfortunately, TV, movies, and social media have consistently pushed false narratives about chronic illness and disability, and so it stands to reason that people absorb that stuff, and they believe it. I mean, if it's on the internet, it must be true. I mean, just ask CSI, right? Can you zoom in? Can you zoom in? Zoom in some more. Zoom in again. Ah, yes. I can read the writing on the note in his wallet. It says, to-do list, grocery shopping, cut the hedges, and murder. Yeah, it's crazy, but people believe it, right? And it's the same with disability and chronic illness. Like I said, though, the list goes on and on, but for the first installment, we'll just cover some of the more popular misconceptions. I don't think popular is the right word, but whatever, let's dive right in. First, one of the most widely held misconceptions about chronic illness and disability is that if you don't look sick or disabled, then you can't be. Right? We all know it. We all know it, and especially those of us who suffer from a, quote, invisible illness. Yeah, I've always hated that name, too, because it certainly ain't invisible to me. Yeah, not invisible to us. Yeah, it's more like a visible illness, an extremely obvious illness. An illness like that ridiculous hairpiece your boss wears that everyone pretends is real, but is so insanely obviously a toupee that the president of the hair club for men himself would vomit with rage. Yeah. Anyway, I digress. The point is, a disability does not need to be seen to be valid. Period. Now, I know everything in society tells us that when you see someone park in the handicap spot or claim they are disabled, you're expecting the worst. Subconsciously, when that car door opens, most people are somehow disappointed that they don't see someone in a motorized wheelchair with a robotic voice who has hooks for hands get lowered by a crane onto the pavement while a Greek chorus of onlookers sings a song where the only lyrics are the words, "I'm sorry," repeated over and over. Yeah, people expect that level of obvious infirmity when they think of someone disabled. Now, a lot of that comes from TV and movies telling us that disabled means freaking disabled, right? But it doesn't mean, oh, well, I have some good days and I have some bad days. But on the good days, you almost can't tell there's anything wrong. No. That does not fit the narrative that people have written for those of us who are disabled but are still more or less self-reliant. Yeah, there's really no in-between in many people's mind. It's normal or quadriplegic. That's it. No intermediate steps necessary. Apparently, look, the simple fact is that there are millions of people who are disabled out there who don't look like what you think a disabled person should look like. If that's even a thing. Anyway, we get up every day and we do the best we can, and some days we just can't hide it. The pain, the obvious limp, whatever, and people get what they want. Some days, though, we actually have a good day, and we can hide it, and well, on those days, no matter what it looks like, from the outside, we are still disabled. Our joints, our immune system, our nervous system, it's still a dumpster fire level mess. We just happen to be having a good day. So please don't ruin it by assuming disabled has to mean unable to look good. Okay, next, and this is one I see a lot. Not every disabled person is a fearless, well-mannered, upbeat, unsung hero with a quick wit and a pep talk in his back pocket. Yeah, I know. You see someone on TV in a wheelchair or someone with Down syndrome, and of course that person is totally comfortable with their disability, is happy and satisfied with the world around them, has a million friends, and everyone wants to be around them. Ha ha ha, that sounds amazing, doesn't it? Yeah, well, it's as much of a fairy tale as Hansel and Gretel, and just about as gory. By the way, a kid's story about a lady who eats children and then gets shoved into an oven and burned alive? I mean, happy ending? Anywho, the point is, that whole mythos of what I like to call the plucky disabled warrior, it's just that, a myth. Guess what? Disabled people are just like regular people. Yeah, crazy, isn't it? We get upset, we get frustrated, and we don't carry around a book of sayings to say to you when you get down on yourself, like we've somehow cornered the market on motivational quotes. Most disabled people, in fact, have a tough time maintaining relationships, making friends, holding down jobs. And I don't mean to sound down on life. I really don't. I'm not. The friends I do have will tell you very honestly that nobody loves me more than me. I'm fine with who I am. I like who I am. And I try to be as kind and as upbeat to everyone as I can. But guess what? I still get upset. I hurt. It gets to me. I lash out. I make mistakes. I say things I shouldn't. I eat a whole bag of potato chips in one night and then get mad at myself the next day for being such a damn piggly wiggly. Yeah. You know what I don't do after eating that whole bag of chips? What I don't do is pull out my trusty book of sayings learned from years of dealing with chronic illness disability and say to myself, well, just remember, big appetites mean big desires, and big desires mean big goals, buddy. Yeah, take that, Confucius. Stick that in your firework tube and smoke it. I don't know, whatever they used in China back then. The point is, me and other disabled people are not going to be your personal motivational guru. Sorry, most days we're too busy trying to get our own lives taken care of, just like everyone else. Now, some people ask why disabled people are portrayed this way, and I can only think of one reason. It makes it easier for people to not feel guilty about really examining disability and the issues that surround it when they can assume that we all handle it with grace, wit, civility, and strength. I think that's part of it, and I'm really not shaming anyone. I'm not. I know. Everyone is only human, and those feelings are totally natural. We just have to do better at portraying the real life of disability in current media. That's it. Okay, the last misconception for today. This one is another one that comes up all the time. People with chronic illness and disability are consistently told to suck it up or that their illness is not that big of a deal. Oh man, if I had a nickel for every time I heard some comment about how chronic illness is just a minor annoyance, or we aren't eating correctly, or we're not getting enough exercise, or we're getting too much exercise, or essential oils, or whatever. The list goes on and on, but the point of it all is that people think that chronic illness is just some minor bother like an old football injury or a trick knee, and that we should just, as my high school drama teacher once said, take some naproxen and shut up already. Yes, he really said that. Yes. You have to remember, though, this was a time before the internet or video phones or common decency. The little things we take for granted now. Now, I get it. I really get it. And this is an issue that I've written about more than once. It's difficult to blame people for this particular misconception when every single ad for arthritis medicine or MS medicine or diabetes medicine all feature the same thing. Someone riding a mountain bike, or someone playing golf, or a couple enjoying a nice swift game of tennis. Yeah, all things that people with serious chronic illness could never do. Right? Unless we wanted to be in bed for the next week. Right? Yeah, it's a huge issue. And just so misleading for the public in general. Look, I am not one of those anti-pharma people either. I think medicine is wonderful. It can change people's lives. I know it's true because I've experienced it and I've seen it, right? But these TV commercials, they insinuate that people with chronic illness can just, take an injection or a pill and then go back to the PGA Pro Golf Tour. You know exactly who I'm talking about. Well, those commercials do more harm to the perception of chronic illness than the medicines do good. Seriously, it's bad. Now look, I'm a realist. I know you can't have a commercial for medicine that shows what chronic illness is really like. But let's just say, for argument's sake, that they did have one. It would probably go something like this. Mountain biking, golfing 18 holes. All things you might have thought were impossible with prolonged chronic illness. Well, it's a new day, and those things are now still impossible. When you have rheumatoid arthritis, it means significant permanent joint damage and disability. Now, though, there's a new medicine that may bring hope to millions. It's called Real-Lifosol Actualis, and I asked my doctor about it. He told me that my desire to be a sports star and free climb the Grand Canyon was unrealistic for someone with chronic illness disability, and I'd have to set my sights to a more accurate goal. That's when he suggested Real-Lifosol Actualis and told me the best I could expect was a 60 to 70% relief on a good day. Some of the things Real-Lifosol Actualis helps me do are get out of bed, take a shower, walk around the block, and possibly not miss work. That's what I can realistically expect from any chronic illness medication. So, if you too are experiencing symptoms of disbelief, delusions of athletic grandeur, and total OMG-ness when it comes to seeing people taking long hikes that end up with yoga at the top of a mountain peak at sunrise, you're not alone, and you should stop listening to TV commercials about chronic illness. Ask your doctor about Real-Lifosol Actualis. Real-Lifosol. Lower your expectations with the medicine that does just enough to make it worth taking. Most days. Okay, that's about it for episode 3. Of course, as I said, the list of misconceptions goes on, and I'm sure we'll have more for you eventually. But in the meantime, you know it by heart, I'm sure, but I'm going to say it again. Be kind. Rewind, keep on keeping on, and we'll talk soon. Real-Lifosol side effects include purple elbows, hairy eyeballs, and super death. If you experience any of these, please contact your physician immediately.